everything fully done, covered. What is good, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Justin and you guys are here with JustINKD. So do you guys already have a tattoo, but now you want to start adding onto it more and kind of creating and mending it into a sleeve? Or do you want a sleeve altogether, but you're not sure which one to get? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be going over all the sleeve types, the good and the bad to each, and what I believe you should get in certain circumstances and situations. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, I do want to welcome you. In this channel, we pretty much talk about all things that are tattoo related, my experience, opinions, and certain topics, but most importantly, my journey towards getting amazing tattoos and working towards an awesome bodysuit. Now, I got some great news, fantastic news. I have booked another appointment with my artist, Brandon. We've been killing the lower leg, but what I'm excited for this year is to complete that upper thigh. He has sent me a mock-up of what it's going to look like, and man, I am so excited for this piece. I cannot wait to show you guys. So it's a great reason to go subscribe and join the community so you don't miss that tattoo or any other future content. But let's get to today's video, guys. Let's go. So getting a sleeve is a huge commitment and requires a lot of planning compared to your typical kind of body art. You really can't typically get, for the most part, a kind of impulsive tattoo and just stick it on your arm or your leg. With a sleeve, it requires a lot more planning, a lot more thought, and there's just many more steps that come in than compared to a single impulsive tattoo. You got to make sure you find what style you like. You got to figure out what theme you want to go with. Then you got to find an artist that is right for the job, and that's one of the biggest things you got to do. Next, you got to make sure you sit down with them, come up with a design so it looks cohesive, it flows kind of one piece. Also, figure out what kind of vibe you want that sleeve to kind of portray as well. Now, I'm going to do a video in the near future talking about how I kind of created my sleeve, the thought process that came along with it, the planning that I did, and how I kind of set it all up to where it came out exactly how I wanted. But I want you guys to go ahead in the comments right now and let me know, do you want a sleeve or do you have a sleeve, and what type of sleeve do you have? So there are many different types of styles and themes when you think about a tattoo and when you think about a sleeve. Now, I believe as you get more and you work towards more of a full complete sleeve, those styles and those themes are much more dominant and visible because you have more work done, so they're more easily seen. Now, some very popular kind of styles with sleeves are, Japanese, tribal, geometric, old school American. Then you got black and gray, you got realism, and then also even blackout has become a lot more popular. And then for themes, you can go with very popular ones are religion, things that resemble your background, your heritage, historic, floral, nature. So I know what you guys are thinking, Justin, shut up and get to the point already. And I will, but I just want to kind of give you a little bit of insight into style and into theme, because they are two very big things that you must take into consideration when thinking about and planning for a sleeve. Now, there are 6 sleeve types that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. 5 of them you can do on both the arm and the leg, because again, you can have both an arm sleeve and a leg sleeve. And then the 6th one is going to kind of be primarily for the upper arm only. And then in the end, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on which one I believe is best and love the most, and then it can be up for discussion with you guys on which one you believe is the best. So the first one that I got for you guys is a quarter sleeve, and for majority of the time it'll go from the shoulder to about midway down to your bicep. These tattoos and these styles are great just because if you have a job that doesn't really like tattoos and you got to wear a t-shirt a lot of the time, then this is definitely something that you would want to get, because you are still able to be tattooed in a way, but it won't show. So say for example, you see right now, it'll go right up to about there. And now with, a shirt, you won't see it. So you get the best of both worlds. You're still able to be tattooed and, show them off if you have a tank top like I was just wearing. And then also, I believe the longevity of these tattoos will last the longest compared to anything else. Just because if you are, if you're out in the sun, it's a nice day. If you're wearing a t-shirt, that shirt is helping protect against those UV rays, compared to if you had anything like me, like I have right now. A t-shirt will only cover just a bit while all the rest is still exposed to the sun, which is then exposed to fading. So then you got to worry about other things like sunscreen and all that. It's not my favorite style, and that's just because I like tattoos to be shown. I believe you get them, you want to kind of show them off a bit as well. So, having them shown is nice. So this is like the least kind of visible out of all the sleeve styles that I'm going to mention. And the last one is, I feel like this is like an entry one that a lot of people get. A lot of people will start off with, say, a quarter, and then you can always add on to it as you go. Now, the next one I'm going to be talking about is an upgrade, and that is a half sleeve. And this one I believe is one of the most popular amongst all the sleeve types that I'm going to mention, just because there's so much variety in terms of what you can do and the areas that you can cover. For the most part, you would say that a half sleeve can go from about your top of your shoulder to your elbow. And in this case, it's great because you have a little more now. And if you're wearing a t-shirt, it can be shown, and usually it covers the inner bicep as well. But now you can also do a half sleeve on the lower end. You can do from the elbow all the way to the wrist, or you can do on the leg. You can do from the top of the thigh to the knee, and then from the knee all the way to the ankle. So there are much more varieties in terms of sections that you can do. You are able to now be a little more tattooed. You're able to show it off while still, not being fully covered. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. I would say also it is a benefit that, you can hide them with a long sleeve as well. Especially if it's up here, no problem hiding it. Now, I will say that these are more subjectable to, the elements. The sun is going to beat down a little more on this one compared to the quarter. So you have to kind of watch out a bit more now. And one final thing I want to mention with this one is it has to wrap around the whole section that you were tattooing. You can't have just an outer forearm tattoo and say you have a lower half sleeve. You got to have the outer and the inner. And if you have the top, you got to have, the whole kind of bicep, tricep area, and the inner bicep done as well. That's just my opinion, because I know some people are out there, they'll just have one section done while the inner part is still blank, and say they have a half sleeve, when in my books it's kind of, you got to have the whole thing to be wrapped around. And again, the same thing on the lower leg as well to be considered a half sleeve. So that's just my opinion. I would love to know and hear what you guys think as well in the comments. Let me know if you agree with me or you disagree with me on kind of that half sleeve rule. So the next one is a 3/4 sleeve, and that one pretty much goes from the top of the shoulder to about midway to the forearm, and you can also go from the upper thigh all the way about to the mid calf. Now, I wouldn't say I've ever seen somebody go the opposite way, like the half sleeve where you had much more variety. I wouldn't say I've ever seen somebody go from there and then go to like midway to the bicep and then leave this part empty. I don't think I've ever seen that. And then the same on kind of like the thigh area. So there's not as much variety compared to the half sleeve, but these are very nice too, because they also now cover a lot more skin. It goes almost down to, the halfway point. It almost looks like you have a full sleeve, but you do get some kind of benefits in terms of like, going for a job interview. You have enough room where even if your kind of shirt moves a bit, you still have enough space where it won't show, and you don't have to really stress about somebody seeing that you have a tattoo. Now, the things I don't like about these kind of styles is that they usually end very abruptly on the in the middle or so, and they have almost like a solid line. And I feel like if you ever want to add and make it a full sleeve, it's really hard to do, just because you can really tell it was the 3/4, and you kind of just add that next part on. Some circumstances, depending on the artist, you can get away with it, but I feel like a lot of times, especially with Japanese style, it ends solidly there, and you kind of you can't really work around it too well unless you add it on, but then you can tell. So like I mentioned, we had quarter, we had half, we had 3/4. You guessed it, now we have full. I got 2. I'm working on my leg to be a full as well. And pretty much it runs from the top of the shoulder all the way down to the wrist, or from the top of the thigh all the way down to the ankle. And I gotta say, I love this style and I love this type of sleeve. It just looks so complete in terms of looking at somebody and just seeing it go all the way down, cutting off nicely at the end of the bend of the wrist or the ankle. It just looks so complete. And then also you're still able to hide it in certain circumstances with a long shirt or, a suit. You may run into some circumstances where it will show a bit if, you move and your arm goes up, the shirt rides up a bit. You might see a little bit of the wrist, but for the most part, you can still hide these from everybody if you don't want them to be seen. The longevity, I would say, is a little bit less compared to the rest, just because now, your arm's out the window driving, it's going to get beat on the sun a lot more. Or, again, stick your car in the engine bay, your hand in the engine bay, it's going to get scratched up a lot more compared to anything else. So, you got to watch it to be more cautious compared to all the other styles. But I do believe this one has such a nice complete look to it. And overall, it just looks amazing. And I love seeing somebody with a full sleeve. I would like to hear your opinion. Do you guys think the half sleeve is more popular than a full sleeve? Or do you think a full sleeve is more popular than a half sleeve? Just because I feel everybody always kind of strives for a full sleeve, and that's kind of their go-to. So I just listed 4. Obviously, you have the quarter, you have the half, you have the 3/4, and you have the full. What else is there? This is my next one, and I call it the full sleeve. And it pretty much runs from the top of the shoulder all the way down to your knuckles, or from the top of the thigh all the way down to your toes. And this one I call it the full because you are covering almost everything fully. Done, covered. And I love this one. I love how it looks. You can this one kind of can be considered both good and bad, just because now you have a visible tattoo where you're no longer able to hide it in those circumstances compared to all the rest where you can wear a long sleeve. Also, the longevity is decreased a lot. Your hands will wear out a lot more than any other area on your body. So you got to watch out for that. But I do love this style so much, and especially when I see somebody on the street that just has from the top all the way down to their hand done. I say wow every time, and I kind of just strive for that. As you guys know, I want to get my hands done as well to kind of complete that look. Now, I know the name is kind of silly, full sleeve. Let me know in the comments if you have a better name for this one, but that's the kind of one I went with. So the last one that I got for you guys is called Hiki or Haikai, I think. I don't know how to really pronounce it, but it originates from the Japanese culture. And this one pretty much covers the pectoral chest muscle, all the half of it, and it can run all the way down to the wrist. It can go halfway. It can go all the way up to your elbow. So, you know, there are a bunch of different things you can do with this one. But the main thing is that it covers the chest and blends into the sleeve. And I didn't know this one myself. I didn't know this one had a name or was considered a sleeve until I looked it up and did some research myself. And this one, I gotta say, is awesome just because with this one, you really do get to show off how much tattoos you have. Because when you have the chest done, you know, that's a big location. It's a prime location. And to have it blend in to the rest of the arm, you just look super and heavily tatted while still being able to hide it when you want to be. So if you want to wear a shirt, a long sleeve, or a suit, you got that going for you, and you don't have to worry about it showing and, you know, being perceived as somebody with tattoos on like the hand, on like the full one I mentioned. So this one is really good. The longevity depends on where you get it and where it ends, but I would say for the most part this one lasts really well too, just because the chest will survive a lot longer compared to like other places of the body. I've seen it done in different styles as well, with tribal, with realism, but we're still going to keep it to the Japanese origins, and it's going to still keep the name of Hiki or Haikai. So now I'm sure you're wondering, what is my personal favorite? And you're probably looking at me saying, yeah, he loves full sleeve. And, you know, I do love it. I love how it looks. It just looks so full. It looks complete. It looks like, you know, a nice cohesive sleeve looks awesome. But I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to say that my favorite is the full sleeve. I absolutely love it. I love seeing somebody on the street, and when they have the whole thing done, it goes right down to their knuckle or to their fingers. It just looks so complete to me. And that is something that I'm striving, obviously, as you guys know, to get as well and finish off my hand. So, you know, I just love how it looks. You know, you do run into situations where you're no longer able to hide tattoos, and you are kind of going to be judged a bit more by society. And so you gotta kind of outweigh the pros and the cons on this one. But for the most part, for me, this is my personal favorite. I would love to hear what your personal favorite is amongst all the 6 that I listed, just because, you know, everybody has their own opinion. And this channel is all about listening to you guys and hearing what you guys have to say. So I know this one is up for discussion, but let me know again, do you agree with me or disagree in terms of, you know, it being considered a sleeve? Does it have to wrap around, or can it just be the outer or inner arm done? I know there are some people out there, and I've met some people that say they have a full sleeve where they just have the outer done, but the whole inner is empty. Do you consider that a full sleeve, or is that only a half sleeve? But also go ahead and like the video. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you can participate in my weekly giveaway, because all you got to do for that is like the video, subscribe, send me a screenshot to my Instagram. It'll be linked in the description. And then every day on Monday at 7:30, I do a live giveaway for a sheet of Saniderm. I'm increasing the size. It'll be 10 by 20 soon. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for, you know, giving me your time like always. And until next time, Justin out. Later, guys.